welcome to Catch Outdoors. I'm your host, Captain Rob Modes. This podcast is about living and playing in the great outdoors, especially down this way in the most southern region of the continental U.S., the Florida Keys. Catch Outdoors is hosted by Spotify and also brought to you by your favorite podcast network. So kick back and get a taste of my Florida. This week's episode of Catch Outdoors is number 114, titled Way in the Way Back. Yeah, okay. I'll get to that in the last 15 minutes or so of this podcast. So hang in there and we'll fill you in on what that little old title is all about. Welcome, everyone. Current temperatures in the Florida Keys is 81 degrees with a cold front on the way that's supposed to drop the daily temperatures down to a whopping 75 by Wednesday. Whoop-de-doo. Nighttime temps will be around 70. The 80s are predicted for next weekend. So there's going to be a little drop. We might even hit 69 degrees, I think they said on like Thursday morning. Oh my, get out the sweaters. Welcome to winter in the Keys. If you're planning a trip down here to escape the winter weather up north, book soon. We are filling up. I kid you not. Publix was noticeably busier. And I'm not talking about just Thanksgiving. I mean, when Janelle and I go down there just to pick up food, whatever, jug of juice, whatever it is we have, it's just like, holy moly, what happened? I get to park in the outer reaches of the parking lot and march across the parking lot to even get to the doors, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, Publix is a barometer for us. It is the place that, when you go, it gives you an immediate idea of what's happening population-wise around here. In, I guess it was August and September, park in the front row, walk right in. They had one register open and walk right out. Now they have all the registers. By the way, there is no self-checkout at our Publix. Good for them. Thank you. I like talking to somebody that's checking me out. I mean, if they continue to do this self-checkout stuff, they should pay you to do it. You should get a receipt back of, I don't know, they should give you 10% off because you did it yourself. You're right. Anyway. Sure. But so anyway, Publix is the barometer. I kid you not. It's I go in there and I look. Well, that in restaurants. Restaurants can be the same way. How big is the wait out front? Like, in the summertime, we'll have a wait, but it won't be more than 15 minutes max, usually 3 to 5 minutes. And then this time of year, you go and you're driving by like the more popular restaurants and you see the line outside the door. It's not even inside. You're like, oh no. So that's the way it is. The winter's here. It's going to get really cold up north, as it usually does, and they will all come down here, and you all are very much welcome. Come down, please. Support us, spend your money. Yep, come on down. I had a wonderful birthday. It's good to be 70 years old. Beats the hell out of the alternative, as they say. Yeah, it does. But it's also nice in the sense that I'm a hell of a lot wiser than I was in my 30s and 40s. And sometimes people in their 30s and 40s kind of, they I don't want to say they annoy me. Sometimes they make me chuckle, I think would be a better way to put it. I get some humor out of it when they say something. I'm like, oh, no, you have no idea. That's what happens with old age. You just get wiser. And that's really good. It's helped me in fishing. I'm getting better at fishing because I have more experience under my belt. So, however, there is this little problem with your brain because it thinks you're a lot younger than you are, a lot younger than you really are. So the learning curve is quite interesting. It becomes imperative that you listen to your body and not your head. Your head is just lying to you. So, I mean, if my body says you should go to bed at 7:30, I don't listen to my head. It says stay up later and watch another movie, or stay up later and watch late night football, or something. I know my body it says go ahead and go to bed at 7. It's dark now, right? Hell, it's dark at 6:30. As long as I get my 7 or 8 hours in, and lately I've been getting 6 to 7 hours, so. I do get up very early. I'll wake up at 1:30 or 2 o'clock if I go to bed too early. So I got to stop that nonsense. But anyway, the head just thinks, your brain is just like, man, you can do anything you want to do. You're still a kid. No, you're not. My birthday was celebrated, as I mentioned last week, at Billy and Cindy Davidson's garden party, with me being invited to sing my new song live, and that was really, really fun. I mentioned it the last podcast, which airs on Tuesday. It was that night. It was Tuesday night, so I hadn't done it yet. I knew it was coming. It was great singing in front of folks again. What a rush. It was really, really wonderful. And it's been a very long time. The garden party is broadcast live each week on Facebook Live and on YouTube. The replay is available on YouTube. Do a search. I can't paste a URL out there or something for you right now. So do a search for Billy Davidson's Garden Party, and a whole bunch of them pop up. And just look for November 21st. That was the day of this year. This is his third year, so there are others on there that you can watch. These things generally run almost 3 hours long. So it's usually a warm-up, getting set up. He plays some music for about a half hour of his originals. Then he has a guest come on, and the guest plays almost an hour by themselves and with him. Then for sure they join up in the last half hour after that. And then they get together for jamming pretty much. And it's great. You get to hear a lot of local music. He does covers, he does originals, and so do the artists that he brings in. He brings in artists every single week, generally on a Tuesday night. So when you get on YouTube, check it out. There'll be a calendar on there telling you when stuff's coming up. And I really enjoy watching it, besides playing on it. That was really great. But I really enjoy listening, because he really has some great artists that he invites in that you wouldn't otherwise hear. And I like that a lot. I also did, after my portion of the show, I appeared about an hour and 40 minutes into it. That's when I came up and did my song. Then after that, we did a tribute to Paul Case, a really close friend of Billy's. Case and Davidson played a lot of music down here over 35 years at the Lorelei, and before that. And Paul passed away. And so Billy found out that I could play the bagpipes. And so I brought a bagpipe chanter, which it sounds like bagpipes. It's electronic. And we hooked it up, and I played a little bagpipe tribute for him. And then Billy sang a couple of what happened to be my favorite Paul Case songs. So that was really cool. And then I closed the show down by doing Garden Party, Ricky Nelson's Garden Party, along with Billy, and that was really fun. So now I have the bug, another bug. It's not like I don't have enough hobbies. You drag an old song out and it goes someplace, and you're just like, this is really, really cool. So for me, I'm not going to do it to try to get it published again and all that stuff. I'm writing some songs. I think I wrote 2 this week, and pulled out a couple of old songs and rewrote them. Well, didn't rewrite the lyrics, but rewrote the music. And it's kind of fun. I find it as, it's like therapy. It's really just the nicest thing. I write books, and books are tedious. Books take a lot of time. Books take a lot of research. The one I'm on now is over a year of research. It's getting close, but it's over a year. I love songs. Songs don't take that long. So you get this notion in your head, and you're like, this is a really good idea. Or you saw something, or you heard something funny, and you thought, that will make a song. And you just start writing it down. I love being able to get it out, to bring it in, digest it, and spit it back out is basically what happens, and get a song out there. So I'm kind of enjoying this. I don't find this to be a chore at all. So that'll be pretty cool. My new song, Key West Town, will be available Tuesday. So on the same date that this podcast should be, hopefully, it'll be on most download services. It's been stuck out there so that Spotify and places like that can grab it. So I'm hoping. If not, I'll have to work on it, getting it there. So I've been told that's what's going to happen. So I don't know. This is my first time. Thanksgiving was spent at my mom's house in Fort Myers with family, and it was a lot of fun. It's good seeing a few of my grandkids again. Holy moly, have they grown up. I guess that's what happens when you get older. God, my youngest, my grandson, Duncan, he's probably a foot taller than I am. That boy's big. Mom's doing great. Put together a heck of a turkey dinner with the help from my oldest daughter, Rebecca, and the food was excellent and really, I'm glad we did it. It was quite a drive. We decided to do it in one day, no cat sitter. So it's like, all right, let's get up early. We'll go over to Fort Myers, and then we'll turn around and come back. We didn't get back until well after dark, but it was certainly worth it. So a lot of fun. One thing that Janelle and I missed is the lack of leftovers. When you go to somebody else's house for Thanksgiving, family, friends, whatever it might be, the one thing that's lacking is the leftover, especially turkey. I love turkey, and I love leftover turkey. So that was kind of a bummer. So guess what we did? Janelle and I cooked up a 15-pounder on Saturday. Yeah, baby. We made mashed potatoes, green beans. She made her famous cranberry sauce. Yum, yum. And we had a little mini Thanksgiving dinner, sort of, just so that we could carve up a turkey and put lots of meat in the fridge. We'll use it for sandwiches and all kinds of stuff. But I really missed that. I mean, that's part of Thanksgiving, right, folks? And you have to have leftovers. So, not saying the first meal wasn't great, because it was great, but it's nice to do it again. I also need to mention, in that vein, eggnog. I'm a fan of eggnog. Only comes out this time of year. I think we started seeing it right around the 1st of November. And I mean, I love this stuff. I just like putting it in a glass and drinking it straight out of the thing. I know some people put cubes in it. I could put ice cubes in it, I guess, but I prefer it straight up. What I usually do is put a shot or two of bourbon or dark rum in it. Yum, yum. And I mean, eggnog is sort of designed to be spiked, if you didn't realize that. With that and a little ground whatever on top, right? Nutmeg or something of that nature. Well, normally I do like a dark rum. And this time around I tried Papa Pilar. If you're not familiar with it, that's a rum down from Key West. And I did the Papa Pilar rum that's been aged in sherry cask. That was great in eggnog. I'm just throwing this out there as a recommendation, because I have tried several different types of quality bourbon, several different types of great dark rum, but I have never had anything taste quite as good as eggnog with the sherry cask Papa Pilar's rum in it. So there's your holiday tip of the week. Have at it. I finally got back to fishing. Holy moly. It happened this morning. This is Sunday when I usually record the podcast. This is Sunday afternoon, actually. But yeah, I want to shout it because I'm so happy, because it has been so long. I went back and looked at the logbook. I log all my fuel, my mileage and fuel. And I keep it in a little log on my phone so I can, how many miles. I don't trust the gas gauge on a boat. Never have, never will. Most of them don't work properly, and that's why. But last time I was out was November 12th, and today is the 26th on my calendar. That's just wrong. There's something seriously wrong with that. And I got to fix that immediately, and I am. So, and I'm thinking about going out tomorrow, to be honest with you. Yep, 2 days in a row. You want to know why? Oh, I'll tell you. I found a place. I found the honey hole. I knew it had to be there. I knew it had to be here near Key Largo. It just took a lot of time and effort to find it. I'm not going to kid you. I worked my butt off trying to find this stupid thing. On and on and on I went. Over and over and over again. I learned something. Let's just say I had to go a lot closer to where the crocodiles live and away from people. That pretty much is what did it. I had a hell of a morning today. I really did. Again, Sunday. I made a run well up into Florida Bay to an area that looked good on the chart. But, I talk about this a lot. We fisher folks get so locked into spots that we've had success with that we really don't ever venture out much more once we've found a few spots that we're pretty happy with. And especially if you are, like me, a weekend fisherman, which I am now. That's a classification of somebody that fishes once or twice a week and is not a fishing guide or rabid. Crazy. Yeah. So that's me now. So I find my spots like a lot of other guys and gals do, and they just go to that spot those spots over and over and over again. They rotate them. They work through them. They know when they should be there. They've got some notion of tide, wind direction, things like that. So they know when to be there. But what you do then is you stop looking, you stop searching. And I am totally, totally guilty of that. So, but a couple of days ago, I promised myself that if I ever got back out there, that's how bad it's been. I'd have a see at this little area that I saw, and if the weather would ever cooperate. So I set out early this morning, was very brave in that I passed up all of my likely spots. Yeah, man, you know how hard it is to drive past the places that you know work. Even though the pull was extremely strong, like, Luke, feel the force. Yeah, that's what it was like. It's like, let me go. Just let me go. So I did. I zoomed on past it, broke it off. I continued on to new water and into a completely new area that I've never been in before. And it really, really paid off. When I arrived, there were many things that I noticed that were different. Number one, there was bait everywhere. I mean, everywhere. Bait in the bushes, bait out on the flats. There was white bait jumping out of the water. It was like, I was like, I sure wish I threw a cast net, which I don't. My back and it's against the rules. Although I'm thinking maybe I can get a 7-foot one instead of throwing an 8 or a 10 or a 12. Maybe I can cut way back, because honestly, this spot, one throw, I'd have been set for the morning. It would not have been an issue. There was so much bait in this area. Let's see, what else did I notice? Oh, I noticed that the water quality was a lot different. It was good, but a lot different. It looked more like the water in Pine Island Sound, Matlacha Pass, Estero Bay, waters down toward Naples, inshore waters. That nice, pretty olivey green color where you can see down about 1.5 to 2 feet. But murky enough so that the fish don't see you coming. And it looked like that. It just looked like the water on Southwest Florida's coast, inshore water of Southwest Florida's coast. So that was kind of eye-opening. And there were fish there. Boy, were there fish there. I did manage to catch a small redfish. Lost a snook, but I got to see him. A bunch of big jacks, which was really nice because all I've been getting at the other places I stopped are little bitty jacks, those ones that are about the size of a size 8 flip-flop, just little bitty fish. These things were really nice, 3 to 5 pounds, all of them. I think 7 or 8 of them. They were crashing through the bait, which was just, I haven't seen that in a while either. I haven't seen fish crash through bait unless you're offshore throwing chum in the water, so that was kind of nice. But it was remarkable. It was just remarkable how good it was. And I like reeling in. Jacks they're great game fish, by the way. I'm gonna stick up for them. No, they don't taste good, but pound for pound they pull like crazy. I had one run me into the bushes, and I somehow managed to get him out back to the boat. I'm guessing he was about 5 pounds. And with the bait in there the way it was, they were crashing my artificials like crazy. So I really liked that. I didn't have to bring bait today. I saw a tarpon splash through them. I'm pretty sure I saw snook crash in the bushes, but just got the one little guy. But now I have a place to really, really search. So I'm really looking forward to that, a whole bunch. There was also a lot of great bird life in the area. Lots of bird life. I got to take my long lens for my camera on the next trip. White pelicans. Let me tell you something about white pelicans. Those of you that are listening to me that live on the west coast of Florida, on up and down the west coast, all the way into the 10,000 Islands, typically see white pelicans this time of year. I know they arrive off of Fort Myers, Sanibel, in that area, usually around October, like real close to Halloween. You start to see them. And they really come in heavy in November, December. These are migratory, huge pelicans. They're white with black trim, as I call it, much larger than the typical brown pelican that you see in our waters and around our waters. They migrate from up around the Great Lakes, southern Canada, and they go back there in the summertime. And they're beautiful birds in flight. They really are. Down here in the Keys, it's rare to see them. They just don't come down this far. And there they were in this spot I'm talking. I was just, whoa, look at that. There's white pelicans. I couldn't believe it. I saw storks, roseate spoonbills, every kind of wading water birds you could possibly imagine, as well as ospreys, and even had a nice hawk fly right over me. I have no idea what kind he was. because I haven't learned all the hawks in this area yet, but he was definitely not a red-shouldered. So not sure, kind of big, large, really large hawk. And that was pretty cool. Something that was missing that I noticed, and I was only there for about 3 hours, so that's why I said I'm probably going to go back tomorrow and do a little more exploring of the area. I never saw a dolphin or a manatee, which I found kind of unusual because this area seemed like the place that dolphins and manatees would hang out. But then again, you really are close to the crocodile areas up there. So maybe they don't. Maybe they know better. I don't know. I gotta do a little more studying on that one. The lure of the day was my old standby, my Gulp 4-inch swimming mullet in white. Yes, I own stock in that company now. On a Z-Man lead head jig, 1/4 ounce with golden eyes. I started messing around with eye color on the Z-Mans and doing comparative fishing. So they've got a green, they got a real pale, I don't know what to call it. It looks like opal. And then they have red, of course. What else? Green, red. This golden one I've been using. That's all I can think off the top of my head. I've been kind of shifting them all around. Oh, there's different shades too, of course. And I had gotten kind of locked into green for a while. And I mean, it's green. It's like lime green eyes. And then I bought these ones that are, I call them golden eye, kind of like James Bondy golden eye. And they seem to make a big difference. I'll do a little more work on it just to kind of make sure. But they've worked out really well for me. And that's what I used today. I was had on that golden eye. You know what? I got a fish on the first cast in there. That's the other thing. I got barracudas in there too, by the way, but they were bigger. Most of the barracudas I've been catching in the lower part of Florida Bay around Key Largo and Tavernier have been little. They're not tiny, but they're 14 inches to maybe 16 inches max, and skinny little suckers. These were all 22 to 24 and hefty in the middle. Like they were eating very well in that area. And almost all of them were right up against the mangrove. If I made a short cast or cast out a little bit, they wouldn't bother me. But if I got too close to the mangrove, they would hit me the moment that the lure hit the water. I mean, it was that fast. So it's still fun, right? It's a bite, for crying out loud. But anyway, that was the lure of the day, the Gulp 4-inch, what do they call that thing again? A swimming mullet. I think it's funny it's called the swimming mullet because it doesn't look anything like a mullet. I've said this 100 times. It looks like a tadpole is what it looks like. The swimming tadpole. I'm just going to rename it. I've been a very good boy. I've been reading every evening. I told you I was trying to cut back on my cell phone use, where you lie there and just stare at your phone and do Facebook and Instagram and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I really have to stop this. I have to do more quality time in front of the computer typing a book, now writing some songs, So I got to read. I've got to read. And I love to read. And I explained this before several podcasts back. I really, really love to read Florida mystery novels, things that are based. They can be coastal too. It can be North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, but as long as it's a coastal novel with a mystery that's tied to water, I guess is a way to put it. Randy Wayne White stuff, James W. Hall, Carl Hyacin, things like that. So I got some really good recommendations from a lot of people, and I really, really appreciate it. So I have been tearing into the books. I finished Longboat Blues by Terrell Griffin. That's a Matt Royal mystery that was given to me by a friend who said, try this series. And I liked it a lot. It's really good. It's very enjoyable. It takes place in Sarasota or around that area, basically. Longboat Key, Sarasota, up in that area. And I grew up in Clearwater, so I can identify with what it's like to live there and what it's like to be in that area. I'm going to do the series, but I was more sold on the series by Wayne Stinnett, whose main character is Jesse McDermott. The Terrell Griffin one is the Matt Royal series, and it was good. I don't know. I'll tell you what it was. The Jesse McDermott series, which is by Wayne Stinnett, is based in the Florida Keys, and it's based way down in the Big Pine area. Content Keys, just all that down in that area. And I really love that area of the Florida Keys. And I boated there a lot, and I have driven through there a lot. And so all of his locations that he talks about, I'm very familiar with, especially being on the water. And so I kind of like that angle. So I decided to go back to Mr. McDermott or rather, that's actually Wayne Stennett, the author, and do another Jesse book. His books are Fallen something. In other words, Fallen this, Fallen that, blah, 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 blah. The one I just started again is Fallen Hunter. That would be book 3. I'll tell you this. If you start this series, start at book 1. Mr. Stennett, the author, carries the main character over and along with a good many other characters from the previous books. So it will help you. It's almost like the Randy Wayne White books, if you've ever read those. Doc Ford and his compadre and all of his people are generally carried from spot to spot, or at least mentioned from book to book. This literally carries characters over into the next book. Honestly, I like that. I do. It makes, I don't know, it's kind of like watching, I guess it's like watching a series on Netflix, just, the same guy's back, good. And we've got another mystery, excellent. So that's kind of the way I feel about it. But anyway, so I started on that one. I'll let you know how it goes. And I may start doing 2 at once because I am still reading Jimmy Buffett's book, one of his early books, A Salty Sea, A Salty Place. Oh gosh, now I can't remember. I'm looking right at the book in my mind, but I can't remember the name. But A Salty Piece of Land, I think is what it's called. I am kind of working on that one at the same time. So, okay, time for the final subject. Way in the way back. I'm guilty, and I know better. When it comes to fishing in the Florida Keys, the farther away you can get from civilization, the better. Period. For both you and the fishing. Doesn't matter if you go out into the Atlantic Ocean. Doesn't matter if you go into the backcountry. The farther away you can get from everyone else and every other boat, the better off you're going to be. And that also means that you see everybody on a reef patch. Doesn't mean run over the reef patch and fish it. Doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be the best spot. That means that's going to be the spot that's pounded on. So you might want to find another one just like it, not too far away. In the back, being away from everybody is wonderful. Today I saw one boat. That's it. In the 4 hours I was out. One boat. That's my kind of place. And he was looking at me like, what the hell are you doing in here? I was like, uh-oh, I might have messed up his whole morning just seeing me. So I don't know why I have been avoiding the obvious, though, but today was the day to change that. I realize now that exploring the hidden areas near Key Largo and Tavernier are essential for success, plain and simple. Don't get me wrong. There are lots of places to successfully wet a line near my home. But the way back is, well, the best and always has been and always will be. I think my issue is just getting used to going into remote areas that are very, very remote. I got spoiled fishing the Southwest Florida coast where there isn't anywhere very remote until you hit the 10,000 islands. And even then, I wasn't overly concerned about getting lost. I don't know why. I know that those islands can be a bit intimidating to a lot of people, but for me, it just really wasn't that big a deal. I felt comfortable in there. Maybe I should have been a smuggler years ago. Just one of those things where you're like, I just learned my way around in there really fast. And I also learned something really important. I think I relayed this in maybe my first book. I can't remember. If you're lost in the backcountry of the 10,000 islands, look at the water and see which way it's moving, provided you know the tide. That's the only trick to this. If you know the tide when you went in there and you know the tide switches and what time they happen, you can roughly determine the direction of water. And, it's either inbound or outbound. And if it's out, it's running to the Gulf of Mexico. So there you go. If you follow little floating leaves and little pieces of debris in the water and you know it's an outbound tide, you can find your way out of the 10,000 islands. You'll eventually come to really, really big water called the Gulf of Mexico. And then it's up to you to decide whether you want to go north or south, depending on where you started. So there you go. So it never really bothered me all that much. But I don't know. For some reason, the waters in the top of Florida Bay seemed a bit more foreboding to me. I think a lot of it's because it's extremely shallow and it's very tricky. Perhaps it's the knowledge that you really are way out there on your own. There's almost no sightings of other boats, like I mentioned before. Hell, there's barely an airplane going over you. You don't really hear any sounds at all out there. I don't know, maybe it's because I've become more cautious in my old age. Maybe not. I got an EPIRB. Worst comes to worst, I activate it and they come find me. So it's not like I might die back there. I certainly don't want to spend the night, though, with the mosquitoes. I can tell you that. I know this, though. I have turned over a new leaf when it comes to searching for fish in the upper waters of the Keys. It not only takes you places that almost no one else has ever seen or been to, it opens up a whole world of nature, better than any zoo or any holding tank with fish in it. It's amazing, really, what's back there. Today I saw a sea turtle. I saw an enormous amount of birds of every kind, and tons of fish, and fish feeding heavily. They were happy to be there. So was I. It's nature at its best, and I truly love being in the middle of it, whenever I can be. So I have taken it upon myself to do much more exploration into the back, as I call it, the way back, way in the way back. It's a natural, and it's a place that you're going to see stuff that you've never seen before. Yeah, it's crocodile country. That's the other thing you see back there. You do see crocodiles, which are really menacing looking a lot. I don't know. I find them much fiercer looking than alligators, but that's where they live. That's their home. As one of my friends said, the only place in Florida where crocodiles and alligators live together. That's pretty awesome when you stop and think about it. Not really together, sort of. Crocodiles are saltwater, alligators are fresh, but when you're that far up, you're in the sort of isn't area. You've got some salt water, but you've also got fresh water all mixed in together in these upper areas. So there's no telling what you might see. So I find that really, really cool. So there you go. Way in the way back for me is just like it sounds. I'm going to spend more time there. I'm going to talk about it again on the podcast. And as I explore more and learn more about things back there, I'm certainly going to relay it to you all. But I had a really great day today. I had such a good day. I am planning on tootling on out there tomorrow morning if the weather holds. We have another front on the way. Oh, joy. And so hopefully I'll be able to get back out there. I hope you all have a wonderful week. And please spend some time outside. Even if you live in one of those colder reaches of the United States, it's still better to be outside than inside. So please just do it. Thanks much for listening. A heartfelt thank you to all the listeners that have supported my podcast over the last couple of years. If you enjoyed listening, please tell a friend, leave a review, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The Facebook page is Sketchy Outdoors, website sketchyoutdoors.com, where you can find all the previous podcasts and a schedule of what's coming up. Until next time, get outdoors and enjoy.